Welcome, adventurers, to Fables of the Forge.
I'm Bazar.
And I'm Ragnar.
Each week, we delve into the stories that shape heroes and break worlds. Each arc is a legend reforged. Each session is a new chapter in the saga.
Whether you're a dungeon master, a player, or you just love a good story, grab your dice, pour a drink, and join us at the Forge.
This is Fables of the Forge.
Welcome back, everyone, to Fables of the Forge.
Hello,
I'm Ragnar. This is
Bazar.
Bazar. Welcome back. We had our mics muted. We recorded half of this episode already, and our mics muted.
You know what?
Now we're starting again.
It's fine. We're warmed up. We're hella warmed up now.
Hella warmed up.
You'll never know what we said, but it was such good content that the gods interfered, and they did not let it be known.
This is officially just a tribute.
Yep. Man, we've not even gotten established, and we already have tributes. We're that good.
Oh, God. Combat. Yes, we're talking about combat today. How do I segue back into what I just spoke about with you?
I mean, essentially, you got feedback. We got feedback.
Yeah,
y'all are most interested in learning how we balance our combats. To that credit, I tell you, we don't.
We don't. Is the most straight answer that we could probably give. We literally we just said that before, but we don't balance the combat. We literally throw it in and pray it works. Because like the way that I do it, right, is that, like, especially for this campaign that I'm running, the Blood of the Wolf campaign, right, the IRL one, they're my test dummies. So that's how I balance realistically. So I run that campaign at home with my nephew and and my roommate and all that kind of stuff, and I throw enemies at them and hope that it works. No joke. That's no word of a lie. But it's done in a way that is kind of balanced, I guess. It's like, I don't look at the CR rating because CR rating is bullshit.
Bunkus.
What I look at the most is HP. I think that's where I look at it. Like, how much HP does this thing have, and do I need to buff it or debuff it? Do I need to give it extra attack or remove an extra attack? Things like that. And that's kind of how I balance, I guess. But I look at a mixture of the health and what level my party is, and what's crazy idea. But I look at who's in my party. If I have a barbarian, a fighter, and a ranger, which I do, by the way, in a non-magic environment, it's crazy. Also, with amongst them is a cleric with my homebrew class. That's menacing. I look at what they've got, and then I look at the health and think, is this too hard or is this too easy? Is this just right? Well, jokes. You never know if it's just right. Is it too hard or is it too easy? Is kind of the basic questions that you ask each other, that I ask myself. And then occasionally I'll throw the question to Baz. I'll shoot him a message like, hey, what do you think about this encounter? And then Baz will tell me that, if these were my players, I'd kill them. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And I do something a bit similar. So whenever I'm running my combats or when I'm planning, so because I run a very role play heavy campaign, I have gotten feedback from my players before, like, hey, could we just maybe, crazy idea here, roll some dice? And I was like, yep, that's on me. I'm so sorry. And for a long time, that was because a lot of the times whenever we're playing, there are moments where I get lost in the sauce of like the role play that's going on and the events that are going on. And if you give me an intimidation check and I get intimidated, I'm going to be like, I'm not letting this motherfucker roll anything. He's not rolling a nothing. I'm intimidated. I think that you're going to reach across that table and hit me if I say no. Not to say that my players are bullying me, but
Think twice for help. Think
But what I do, so I tried challenge rating. I really did. And there are factors that work against me. One thing I like to do is something I learned from my DM was max HP. No rolling HP. I do whenever you take levels in my campaign, you max HP. And I asked him, I was like, why are we doing this? And he was like, so that way I can have fun, where I can go in, because nothing is worse than like fight kicks off, first round of combat, monster does a crap ton of damage, and you go down first round or even second round of combat. But like, I get it. You need to place yourself better on the battlefield, but like, you shouldn't know what my monsters have available. So like, if I do a 60-foot cone of lightning breath, you would have never known that I don't know, undead could do that. But like, and I also tried to. That means though that, and I think they know this too. My players, at least, that means that my monsters have a health bar. Like, there's no, my players don't metagame, but there is no point in metagaming, because I will oftentimes, that HP bar is kind of what I need it to be. It's not always like I'm not gonna just go until I've heard the rule, like, go until combat stops being fun, but like, nah. I mean, I've took in a lot of stuff. Really? I've heard before, like, combat goes on until the DM can see that it's not becoming fun for people. And I've heard that before. I'm not against it. It's kind of, I think that it's just part of the game too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but my party, as is typical, are very strong, and challenge rating cannot keep up with them.
Yeah.
And there's a number of reasons. One, I like magic items. I think magic items are cool. And so they have access to magic items. They have innate magics. I've got my Friday group's a group of all martials. And so that is another thing. Good God Almighty, I have a full team of marshals, and if I don't have minions, whatever it is, it's chopped.
Yeah,
So,
100%. That I feel, because like I said, I got 3 like rangers in my group, and one of them uses a spear as well. Like, the ranger uses a spear, ranger, fighter, and a barbarian, all in the same group, and that is like, yeah, I've got 3. I have 3 of these martial characters in my group, plus a cleric that is, like I said, my homebrew, and like, trying to balance for them is very much so like trying to herd sheep without any prior knowledge
yep.
on how to. It's so hard. But like you said, if you don't have like minions, like the little additions, right?
Yeah.
Then the boss or the main major enemy is going to be folded pretty quickly.
Yep.
Unless
Action economy alone.
overpowered. But then also, in the same process, if you make him overpowered, then it's going to do what you said at the beginning, where it's going to smack him. They're going to go down straight away. There's no balance there. You cannot balance it. There's no in between. Truthfully, unless you like keep bumping up the fucking HP of the big bad. But then you're just like, feel like I'm cheating, but it's.
See, well, one of my note taker will be over there, and boy, I love it when he does this. And baby, I know you talk. I'm talking about you right now. If you listen, he'll be over there, and he'll be putting numbers together, and he'll give me that look whenever he starts
realizing that you've jumped it up. Yeah,
that's odd. This man has 300 HP, Baz. I'm like, yeah, it is odd, isn't it? Nah,
so, I guess
I don't think I've never given like a man that much, but like monsters, dragons, stuff like that, and it's always in jest whenever they're like,
dragons are too weak in terms of like health. I think, because if like, well, at least when I do it, when I'm throwing if I throw a dragon at my party, that means it's like, okay, now shit's real. Like, this is I am playing around. I make my dragons not like D&D dragons, but worse.
Wait, whenever we had the dragon combat, I ran the numbers, and it was meant to be a very deadly encounter. Like they were not going. It was going to be a TPK in
according to
terms of
CR.
numbers, and I went. I don't think so. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, whenever they got into the fight, they positioned themselves well. I gave the dragon some neat stuff. One of the things is it had natural camouflage. And so whenever they walked into the lair, they did not at first see it until they looked up, and it was on the roof.
On
It was
the
a
roof,
green
on the
dragon.
ceiling.
It was on the
Aw.
roof on within the vines, and like looked down, like its head craned, and then it just like it didn't even say anything because she knew they were coming. It was on sight. And so she hit him with the poison breath attack, and I knocked a lot of the party's HP with that. I didn't drop anybody. I almost dropped the party's mount because I said, "Hey, are you bringing the mount in to fight?" And the barbarian was like, "Yes, I am." And I was like, "You understand? You understand what that means?" And she was like,
This,
"Yes, I do." And I
this
was
one
like,
doesn't
"Okay."
have plot armor.
Nope. I always tell them you are welcome to bring your animal familiars to fights. Like you can bring your mounts and stuff. If you include them in the fight, however, I will attack them. I won't normally go for like if they were like, nah, they're tied up over there. Like I'm not gonna be a bastard about going like, oh yeah, the rogue just or the thief steal your horse and kill your mounts. Like no, I've got decency. But we I had fun with that dragon combat, and this was many months ago. But similarly, talking about balancing and whatnot, that combat did not go well because what they did, they knocked her loose from the ceiling, and as soon as she landed, it was I didn't give her any minions because it didn't really make sense. They had actually worked to she had a horde of orcs and bugbears and hobgoblins and stuff that she was using, but they had sown discord amongst them and allowed for a rebellion to happen.
Ah,
So
so
to
they're
that
not bad.
credit, I did not give them I did not give her any minions to fight against. If they had not done that, there would have been problems. They would have had to fight orcs and stuff, but she was fighting by herself in her lair. Um, and but whenever she hit the ground, I mean, I think she lasted 2 rounds of combat, and it was because they were dishing out some numbers, boy.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's nothing really balancing about that. Like if you want to combat, if as a DM, if you want to combat, and I'm talking to you, the viewer, the listener, if you want a combat to last long enough, you've got to be prepared to literally, and I mean this in a bit of a lie, bump up the fucking HP of your enemy. Bump up their don't have to you don't have to buff their damage. Honestly, it's just the health that you need to make. Don't make it drag, not to make it drag, but to make it a fight. You know what I mean? So like
Yes.
make it a threat. Like if you see that you're wait until the combat starts, see how they're faring. If they're dishing out like 60 points of damage in one hit, I'm looking at you, Crow. Then there's a problem. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this thing is gonna fold if he hits it 4 more times. Like that's literally what is it, 240 damage?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in 4 attacks. If you're dishing at 60 damage a hit,
and
Jesus.
and rules is written. No extra stuff, like just good rolls, and you can't.
Yeah.
That's part of the game, and that's as a player, man. Whenever you're hitting the monster like that, you're like, ooh, good round, and the DM's over there going, yeah, good round, shit.
Yeah, literally.
And not
Stern
in a way that we
face,
don't like it.
straight emotion,
Yep.
add a zero. Maybe two.
Sometimes, some. Mainly, I will normally bump the health whenever if they smoke that health bar in like less than 1 round of combat. I'm like, how's he? They'll be like,
Yeah.
how's he looking? Oh, he's he's looking damn good all of a sudden.
Yeah, when I noticed that, okay, this is a guilty pleasure of mine. If I notice that the party's getting too like egotistical, like happy, like fuck yeah, and they're beating the absolute hell out of this out of an enemy, I'll be like, oh yeah, all right, phase 2, motherfuckers, let's go.
Yep. I'll tell you. And I'm tonight. So normally there's a joke between me and Law because I go in and I corrupt his players with eldritch knowledge of little niche situations. Um, I gotta admit, see, I believe in giving them information, and then they choose to do with that information as they will, which normally makes his combats even. Like this is why we have to add zeros. It's my fault. But one of my things that I like to do as a DM, I found in my first campaign I was DMing, they smoked everything, and this was before I was doing max health actually, but they would smoke everything. I had a few fair combats where hey spells. I did a lot of area of effect stuff. One of my favorites was the fight in the dark, where all the party are marshals, and they relied on either dark vision and or like light from a sun sword. I don't even remember if that was how we were rolling at the time. And the enemy knew this. She was an assassin, and she was like, as soon as they entered into the place where she was, she cast darkness in this tiny ass room, and they could not find her, but she kept finding them.
Yep, that makes sense.
So, um, but my favorite stat block for a long time when I first found it, we were doing this orcish like style fights, very much inspired by like Warcraft, where it was like the horde, combats going on, and there's personal stakes involved. But at a certain point, they run into a Tanaruk, and the Tanaruk is my favorite
What
because,
are they?
and I've
Warlocks, like orcish.
they're
Warlocks
demon orcs, and it's very much the
yeah,
fell inspired.
yeah.
It's probably before, but they are literally demon blooded orcs. They've got like they're big, they're huge, they're really strong, and I probably ran this wrong. It was my first time. Give me a break. However, I will always hold on to that stat block in a positive mindset because I had a monk in the party, and he would flurry of blows shit and just he would stunning strike, flurry of blows, and I just could not survive. And then I found the Tanaruk. And the thing about the Tanaruk is the Tanaruk, whenever it takes damage, when it gets hit, it can attack.
Yeah.
So if you hit it, it's going to hit you.
Dirty.
It is dirty. Now, I learned later that it only gets one reaction to do those things.
You gave it multiple.
I may have. I may have.
You're not the only guilty person on this. Okay, don't stress. I've done this before. I feel you.
I learned my lesson, and then later on, whenever I had the big bad evil guy of the final campaign, guess what he had? Yeah,
same thing.
Yeah, I did it again. But the reason for that was because he was an aspect of the God of War, and I felt that it was very. And to the credit, like they had grown in levels since that first time that they had run into that same style of combat. They had grown in so much that they actually knew not to, like they actually scooted back and were using some of more of their spells and were being more careful about how it was. Because the first time when they ran into the Tanaruk, I had 3 of them on the battlefield to match the 3 that were in that scene. And boy, I mean to tell you, they all went down. Now, granted, I had it wasn't even like they knew that they had a one-time get out of a bad situation card, and so the paladin used it, and they summoned legion of, not I would say legion, it was like a few Deva and like Solars. Ooh. Who were already had vested interest because these Tanaruk were trying to open a rift to Baphomet's realm. So like they had a vested interest in not letting that happen. So
fair enough. Not good at all. Here's
they just needed the beacon.
Here's the thing with situations like that as well. Like even if that was meant to be the be all end all end game fight, right? There are moments where I do combats that aren't meant to be won. Speaking of, I did one the other day, Wednesday. The one that Alistair was telling you about, that Crow was telling you about. He was slicing through. They were slicing through all of the minions, the warriors. They called them the Gruts, right? But then there was this one guy. There's this one guy on the battlefield who just stood back and watched and observed for a moment. He was very much so ready to fight, and he was very much so good. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't he wasn't engaged until one of the party members shot an arrow at him, and it embedded itself in his shoulder, and he just kind of like snapped it. That's how like I did the cinematic view of like the
Ooh.
the the arrow impales his left shoulder. It is in there. You witness it enter his flesh. He snaps it, and it pushes itself out as it falls and clatters to the ground in snow. And then his
Oh.
attention and his
Oh.
entire body shifts to your attention. And that was a moment where like I think he was like, oh shit.
Whoops.
Yeah. Well, there was that because so basically a little bit of backstory.
I'm sorry.
Just a little bit of backstory. That was my nephew's character, and he was playing a ranger. In the blood of the wolf, they are wolf blood, right? That's what they are. That's their namesake. That's their ancestors. And in like Norse mythology, history, all that stuff, there is these things called Ulfhetnars, and they are like wolf-like warriors who are said to be the most fearsome warriors that ever exist, right? But there's also a really interesting thing about them was that they were told it was said that they could shift into wolves. So that was the whole thing. That's what this whole campaign is based off: the wolf blood being able to do that, but them only figuring it out about 3/4 of the way through the campaign. The other party's members were able to shift normally through their bloodline, and that was fine. He skipped it. There was an entire ritual, an entire ceremony and training segment that he was meant to go through to shift into wolf and be in control with his own mind. He offered Fenrir a piece of himself for his power to shift. So instead of being able to shift into his form, he shifted into a mini form of Fenrir with a mind that wasn't his own. And when that happened, it is fearsome. It is a force to be reckoned with. But as we have a Seether in the group, which was that cleric, she basically has like true sight to extents. They're called omens. And what she saw was as Order is his name, as he jumped out and went to face this guy forward, he shifted into this pretty large black dire wolf with that looked exactly like a miniature Fenrir. And then the big guy laughed and started to shift and change himself. And he almost turned into this, and I say almost very specifically, he was in this constant battle while he was shifting to not fully shift. Like his face was elongating out, and then he's like, you can see him like kind of pulling his bones back into place to keep his facial features. And all it was he got the size, he got the hair, and he got the strength of a bear. Right.
Interesting.
And before his hands could turn into paws, he kept his fingers sort of clenched and outward, so he has his full, like opposable thumbs, not like a werebear, not like a werebear, but like it's just he's got the bear within him, kind of thing. But then as that happened, the Seether with the true sight was able to see a large, big-bellied, tattooed-bellied, red-haired man with a hammer on his waist. Spectral sort of sitting behind the guy, sort of watching like over him. It was Thor. So he's blessed by Thor, right? Yeah, so he's blessed by Thor, and the party didn't know, and still don't know. They might know after this episode. And like they were not meant to win this fight,
right?
But that character had full intentions to kill them, and he almost did. He smacked the shit because he had an axe that was crackling with orange lightning, and it was a mixture between his bear form and the blessing from Thor. Right, so it was kind of like it was just an absolute nightmare to face and a nightmare to create.
That's cool.
It was very, very complicated item. But like that combat itself, that specific combat, I ended up knocking back the ranger, knocking down Crow's character as well, knocking down the other two, and like pushing them away, and that was the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, you just hear somebody yell out, "Stop!" And it was just a calm stop. And then he clicks his fingers and goes, "Sit." And the big guy walks backwards and sits. And just that moment, I think, just moments like that is how you can really create a cinematic combat that they're not meant to win, and they should know it. This
Yep.
regular old Joe, looking like he had he had a very short shaven beard, long slick hair back, wearing fur coat, hasn't got any weapons on him really, but he's got an army walking behind him, and he said, "Stop, come, sit," and the big guy did. And in that moment, I think the party was just like, "Fuck!" Like they had a choice. I didn't stop them. They made the choice to
Yeah.
stop fighting.
Yeah.
Right. And like being able to do that and keep it in combat. Like, obviously, they got their combat. Believe me, they got their combat. They killed fucking like 12 men, and
Yeah.
they couldn't get him down. Afterwards, after the session, Crow asked me, he's like, "Did I hurt him? Did I do any damage?" I said, "You hit him, yes."
Yeah. Nothing
You hit him.
meaningful.
Yeah. It was one of those because this is meant to be like later on, or
Mhm.
it came down to a deal between these two because the guy
Mm.
was like, "I work for your uncle Sigvald, which is the big bad. He promised me land, and I haven't got it yet.
Mm.
So tell me."
Make it happen.
Yeah, he's like, "So tell me, if we were to fight in this war that you have planned for yourself, and you win, would you give me my land?"
Absolutely.
Well, no,
Absolutely.
that was the answer.
Oh.
Well, yeah, like because he's like, "I am just following orders for the most part.
Yeah.
These are my men.
Looking
My
for a better deal.
men." Yeah, he's like, "My men hold up 30% of his army. That's a big percentage."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "We could kill you right now and have it be over with, but I'm more interested in what you have to say."
Yeah. I'd
And
be
he's like,
interested. Yeah, that's
and
cool.
we ended the session with this. Here's the deal. I'm going to let you walk away. We're going to part ways. And in return, you're going to think of a deal for me. You're going to think of a way that I can get my land.
A better
all we
deal
want.
would be cool too. Just to
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
I'm
all he
guaranteed
wants
this.
is his land. Yeah, all he wants
Yeah.
is his land. And with the way that they're building an army right now, it's kind of that if they went to him first, he would have just killed them. No worries.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
he went to different places and they've started gathering allies, and they've got the Frostborn on their side. They've got the Ulfhernars on their side now. Like there's a
Mhm.
lot, a lot at play here.
Bad for business being on the wrong side.
Exactly. And he wants it doesn't seem like it at first, but in the back end of things, as like for story purposes, all he wants is land to farm. It's all he wants.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
This is all he wants. And they have no idea. They're just like, "Fuck, this guy's got like an army and all that stuff. This is not a fight we win right now." Even though they wanted to, real bad, because he accidentally killed one of the party's like uncles, essentially. It was their father's one of their father's best friends, his right hand,
Right.
his shield brother, right? And he's like, "Yeah, look, if it matters, I wasn't aiming for him. I was actually aiming for your brother.
Hmm.
But no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
Here's my deal." And that's kind of what that was. But that was it. Yeah,
I love that.
Not every combat has to be won. Basically, is my point.
Well, and to add on to that, because the trick of this, and for any new aspiring DMs, you'll hear, and we don't want you to take away okay, so all my combat should be like that. Incorrect.
No.
You have to give them, you must feed them. You must feed them. You must feed their ego like it is a steam engine and it needs coal.
Yes,
Examples of this. We talk about how hard our combats are to balance, but last session I leaned into that, and I even kind of let them know ahead of time, "Hey, tonight might be a fly swatting session," and they were like, "What's that, Baz?" And I was like, "A fly swatting session. It's in popular media. It's whenever you have like the main character going in and he's able to take out rooms of people.
Yeah.
Think John Wick or something, where they're going in and just you cannot stop them. And that's a lot of fun to just give, like, and all it is just low level. What we had, they had I'll make it short, but essentially they had they're level 8 or 9 right now. I've got one group that's level 9, one group that's level 8, and I'm giving it different levels on accident.
Yeah.
So But they're higher level, and they got hit by bandits, standard bandit, like, and these bandits were super sure. Oh man, and they did get the drop on them. It was a really good. It was
Was it
narratively.
comforting?
It was for narrative reasons. It wasn't. I normally, I do the traditional like tree in the road whenever I wanted to do like a bandit encounter or something. This time I didn't. We did a. They showed up, and it was kind of funny. My party were like, I don't use maps a lot, as I've talked about before, but I went ahead and set a map out and put the wagons on there. And so my party were like, all right, hold on. I gotta
Yeah.
let me perception checks, get investigation checks. I don't feel right about this. I'm like, oh, you bastards. But and I let them like I put a really high stealth check that none of them passed. But they got up and all these people are wearing like these very like nobles. They look like nobles, and they're all sitting around this wagon with a cracked wheel that's blocking the path. And then there's another wagon where the other nobles are obviously, and all right now, narratively speaking, a lot of people are heading towards the capital for this moot.
Yeah.
And so it makes narrative sense. One of the characters, he grew up in the circus, and he was like, "Oh, wagon wheels bust all the time." He poked his head out to see what's going on. I was like, "Oh, these guys need help." And it's such a funny moment because that's the monk who normally plays like this young man, he's 19 now, he's 20, and he's trying his best to like kind of be better. And so one of the first times he gets to be better, he goes out there to fix. It's a fucking bandit. So they're out there changing the wheel. Party's out, kind of dispersed amongst them, and all of a sudden, like one of them gave the signal and stabbed the monk. And it was funny because he said, "Can I like describe what that kind of looks like?" I was like, "Absolutely." Because I was just gonna have him stab him in the back, and he was like, "Well, you're gonna need," and he sinks it right into his into one of the fleshier bits of his ribs, and he just kind of looked at it for a second. He's like, I want to portray how Nathan feels so betrayed.
I really wish that moment I could picture it. It's just like the knife is in your rib cage, and you're just like, oh man, I was trying so hard.
Yeah. Well, because they did. I let them get it. None of them passed any investigation or checks or insight checks against them because these guys are really good. Now, that does not mean that they were anything more than regular stat blocked bandits. Now, I did have 3 bandit captains. One of them was a spellcaster. That was a lot of fun. Throwing spellcasters, like, think whenever you're building an encounter, think about what the group has available to them. Think about the resources. Because a lot of the times what I did is I also will, if I want them to be special, I will probably lack on describing what some of the just regular bandits look like, but I did describe the bandit captains. I was like, the bandit captains include a gnome, like a dragonborn, and a Goliath. And they were like, damn, that is interesting. And so, and they had a lot of fun with that fight. It went by pretty quick. I had like 15 bandits and 3 bandit captains. And the bandits were kind of keeping the bandit captains safe until like one of the bandit captains, the Goliath, he saw which one was fighting the most, dealing the most damage. And genuinely, I had written like, whoever is doing that, he will point out to them with his sword, give them a big smile, and be like, me, now me. Because I made him so much fun. He was in that. He wasn't in it for the robbing and looting. He was in it for the love of the game. He liked fighting, and that's what I did with him. He liked to fight.
Tell me
and
the best way to fight. Befriended him, please.
They killed him. Well, the guy that he challenged killed him, and no, granted, he was trying to kill them as well. But that was the thing is, I wanted. There was a part of me that wanted them to be like, hey, how come you're doing this? He's like, because I love to fight.
You know what you should do? Just because I think it'd be fucking great. Just somehow, doesn't matter how, don't care, doesn't bother me. Revive him and have him join again and be like, haha, again, you, me.
Again, because dude, I wrote him and it was just like all these other people are like, the Dragonborn, she was a blue Dragonborn, and
Mm.
I even have a little aspect of Tiamat Mini, and she was evil. Like she was probably the one who was like running the show of this, and her and the wizard are very much like, a very. It was a situation where like he was a deep gnome, and he was clever, crafty. Unfortunately for him, one of the party members has a new mount, or not even a mount, but it's a new familiar like pet, it's not a familiar, but it has a new
Yeah, yeah.
pet. She's a monster tamer. And that new one is a juvenile fleece mane lion. You can look up the stat block and go, Baz, you're fucking insane. No
I have
wonder
the
you
mini for
can't
that.
balance your encounters. You
I
have a
have the
fleece mane
mini.
lion.
Yeah, you want to
Oh
see
my
it? Wait,
gosh. You'll need to, yes, please, because
one
I
second.
was I told them late campaign, it will be something that they can get, like the big one. I'm so excited right now. I didn't know they made a mini for this. But it's man, I love the fleece mane whenever I first like cast my eyes upon it, and then I looked at the picture for it and was just like, that's a sword at its paw. They, because the Nemia or the fleece manes have spell turning, which I think is just hilarious. Um, I was reading the stat block and that they're big, strong, and everything, and then I looked at the bottom of it and they have spell turning, and I was like, oh my god, what the hell? So I made up some lore about how the spell turning is because the people who bred these lions to hunt, they were not magical. They didn't have magic. It was a wizarding war that they were in the middle of, but they did not have magics on their side. So what they did is they got these giant lions that they had, and they just started feeding them nothing but like spellcasters, and then only feeding them spellcasters. Oh my god! Oh man, I'm gonna have to order one of those, dude,
Focus.
because oh my gosh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has a juvenile one right now. So because I did not want to give her like the main stat blocked one is a size huge, which
I'll
is
send you
also
this one.
hilarious. Man, if you want to, I will. It will get
I don't
use.
think you can get them anymore because you could only get these
I couldn't
minis
find one.
specifically out of the
The
uh
boxes.
the mystery boxes. So I got lucky and got this out of it.
Oh man, if you
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
man, I'd take it, and I'd have a hard time like letting them use it because one, the reason why she has it was because she has something already, which is kind of like a sheer shoe from Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
it's not blind. It's like a badger wolf, and we had a lot of fun with that. But it's we made the stat block for it, a lot of fun, and she doesn't use it in
Oh
every
yeah.
combat because she didn't want it to be her. She said, I do not want this to be a part of my character's like I don't want it to be integral. Like if I lose it, I don't want to be like, oh, my character, what will she do now? It's like she didn't have this. She's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want it to be very practical that this is my pet, but this is also my mount. I use this for work. Because she was a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So she now got a chance to
So like
tame
just
this.
in the for lack of better words, like the Witcher and his horses, how he names each one.
Yes.
Roach.
Yes. If spot on. And so she
that was the clearest burp you've ever done mid conversation.
I'm so sorry. The coffee. My bad. You'll have to keep that in or edit it out. I don't care.
I'm not editing it out.
My tummy. I've had coffee. It's like was it like a drunken burp? I didn't even notice it.
It
I'm
was
gonna
like
have to
a
be more mindful. Oh God. My apologies, everyone. This is my dad sounds with Baz.
I love it.
Anyways, they she had one of those, and the spellcaster did not know this until like he started casting spells. He started throwing fireballs at the party, and it's so funny to throw fireballs at a team of marshals and watch them just go ha ha ha. Spellcaster.
Where is he? Where is he?
He died. Now he died from a different thing because I love magic items. I saw this magic item that was really cool, and I gave it to one of the monks. And my favorite thing was that he was like, "Hey, I don't want to know what it does. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna attune to it, and I want you to let me know whenever whatever it does
Oh, that's so
activates.
good.
And I
Crow.
was
So
like, I can't wait to do that.
Crow discovered the other day, because this is Crow's first time playing D&D, or even like his first
Mhm,
introduction into D&D, right? He was like, he kept asking questions like, is it like, are they looking at me? Is he looking at me? And I was like, you have no idea. Like, it's
mhm.
like, can they see me? You have no idea.
No idea.
You have no idea. Like, asking the questions that would require much more in-depth checks and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you can check,
Mhm.
but they're not looking at you right now. Like, you don't know if they're looking at you right now. Sorry. This is like as they walk along the beach and stuff like that. So like, I found it really, really, really fun and interesting in terms of combat, because there was just after he killed somebody, he's like, did they see me? Did they see me just do that? And I was like, you have no idea. You have no idea, no clue.
Your passive perception's not good enough.
Yeah, like no, it was more so like there was like little overlaying fog and mist and all that kind of stuff, and it
Yeah.
was hard to say.
Yeah, you need to dedicate time to you need to dedicate time to looking at that. Which or do you
Yeah,
feel comfortable enough right now, or do you want to keep moving through the fog and dealing with targets? Like that is very much a that's a good
exactly.
way to do that. Another thing about making, whenever you have your combats, balancing out the cinematic unwinnables to, fly swatting, like you couldn't lose this, I don't think, even if you tried. If you
Mhm.
nat one all your rolls, they'd probably trip on their swords. One of the things that I do, and especially early levels, is I have audio cues. And then also sometimes I like to play with the you should probably run, which is a pretty easy mechanic. Most will probably know about it. But there are times whenever you will face something and maybe that meta knowledge in your head that says, I don't think that we as level threes can fight an adult green dragon. I don't think it'll happen. And to that credit, the way that I handle those is I will typically, the first time I ever did it, they were fighting stuff, and I played the Prowler theme from the Into the Spider Verse. That is one
Oh,
of my go-to chase musics, and I keep that
nice.
there. I only play it whenever they are being chased by something,
I haven't heard
and they
this.
are
You
being
got to show me. Wait.
brother. It is eerie, and I actually used it very much. Like, don't skip ahead. In fact, I would challenge you to listen to it in its, like, not in its entirety, but until you get to, there's a part where it starts off slow, it gets loud for a second, and then it gets low again, and then it picks up. You will hear the pace of that, and brother, when I tell you, I have my players like Pavloved to that song to know what is after you is probably not something you can fight.
I'm adding it to my
Um,
playlist right now. Hold on.
you should. You very much should. And then you, listener, should add it to yours as well if you're running spooky D&D. Or at least something where you're like, I want to invoke a sense of what is after you cannot be fought. It's wonderful chase music, and it's got these loud like roars, or not really roars, but I don't know how
Siren.
to Daniel Pemberton would describe that noise. But yeah, it's very much like a siren almost of a scream that goes up. And I did that with these flying heads, like these demonic flying heads um, that were chasing after the party. And there were so many of them that the party were like, we can't kill them all. We need to run. And so they
Okay.
started running from these things. And but because of that, I have that song attached to such an idea that whenever I play it, players typically know that they're being chased. Um, and so I did that with the adult green, and
I
that was fun.
respect that so much. I respect that so much. I have a similar track that I use for moments like that, where like this, like if my party, if for example, if Gucci, if he hears this song, he knows that this is potential TPK moment, or we run. Like that's what this is. There's a song that is done by Rock Nardin, um,
Ooh, what
and
is
it's
Berserkers?
no, it's called "Where Is Your God Now."
Okay.
The song alone, the name of it just sounds fucking menacing. But if like, hang on, let me see if I can find
I
it on
love
YouTube
Rock Narden's
specifically.
music. I play Berserkers for whenever the party's running up against a species slash religious group of the war god known as Kashlarians. Whenever they run against Kestarians, I always play Berserkers,
Dude,
and
I oh
it's just I played it. What was fun is I played it a lot whenever they were fighting against them in a different campaign, and then
yep.
in this campaign they're on this side, like they're on the good side of history, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and the party were able to like go to them and recruit them, and whenever they recruited them to the fight, the Kestarian was like, "I want to ask you a few questions and see if you're worthy of fighting for." And so they asked questions, and he said, and he didn't say whether they answered correctly or not. He just would ask questions, and then when he was done, he said, "Okay, I have 300 men that I can contribute, and if that's not enough, I will call upon the women and children of our village. They will be able to fight." And they were like, "Okay." Okay. Is that okay? And he's like, they are, it is what it is. They are battleborn. They will love it. Um, they give no shits and are very, very much to the point. And what was
Yeah.
cool is whenever they have this little mini siege going on, and during the mini siege, I played that song, and one of my players who knew that song from the previous campaign was like, "The Kastarians have arrived."
What species are they?
They're human. They're
Beast?
they are they're human mountain folk. So
Yeah, that's cool.
they like tussling with the Goliaths, but they respect them. So
Yeah.
I've held a special place in my heart for the Keshtarians, even though I used Keshtar as the big bad evil guy in the last campaign. That's been my favorite thing this campaign, is turning that around on itself. Is being like, yeah, he made a bad decision. That's what that ended up being. Is he made the God of War made a bad decision in the last campaign. Turns out he's human too.
All right.
So,
Give me 2 seconds.
but
Hold on, wait.
yeah, you're good.
Let me see if I can get this thing going. I have to. Can you see this?
I can.
All right. This is the track that I was going to show. Okay, it's called "Where Is Your God Now" by Rock Nut. I was going to show you the intro. Oh, why is this going all funky? We're frozen. There we go.
No,
I think we're good. Nope, we're still frozen.
can no, you can hear me. It says that it can't pick up my mic, but you can
No,
obviously hear
it's
me.
me. My OBS is freezing for whatever reason.
Huh. Interesting.
Weird. Anyway, Rock Narden, "Where Is Your God Now?" Just the beginning of this. Whenever this is heard, it's very much so like a oh shit moment.
Okay. Immediately, I get a Doom 2016 feeling.
Just wait. So good, man.
Yeah, that is super good, especially for the context of being like, whatever you're facing is a lot bigger of a fish than you.
It is
Um,
not an itty bitty guy. Like this
yeah,
is
this will not be fun for you.
yeah, pretty much.
Um,
It's that like this that also adds in, and I'm sticking on the combat topic, right? Music and ambience and like audio cues are absolute, and for me at least, absolute key
mhm.
to setting the scene.
Yep.
Like the way that I run combats, run in any sort of role play, cinematic moments, whatever. I do it. I run it so in depth cinematically. It's called a scene. That's how it starts off, because that's where the introduction is. The scene is the introduction. So the scene would be, oh shit, you see the tips of taloned wings approach over a mound 300 feet in front of you. And then, as you know, I kind of explain the moment as that song begins to play, and then it's perfect because the drop, it pauses for a moment, and then he speaks. He says something. He does this. Yada yada yada.
Yep.
Like he raises his hand. He lifts up his head, and he stares for a moment before he continues to walk. And then on the beat, it just keeps going. You can set a cinematic moment so easily with
Yep.
music, with audio cues, with ambience. Set the tone for your players, and you will have a cinematic combat. I promise you that.
You wanna know the best way to do that? And my players let me do it, and your players let you do it. But some people may go, well, what happens if what if I interrupt? Don't interrupt. Just give it a minute.
In a badass moment.
Enjoy the moment, even if it's meant to be scary. If you talk during movies, you get slapped.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's slap central.
Yeah,
like,
and
I've heard so many times, like, oh, is he just walking towards us with his helmet off right now? Like, yeah, okay, I take my bow out and shoot him. Like, no, boo. I get it. I get it. Player agency, but let your DM have a minute. He's playing this all week, or maybe that day.
Let the monologue happen. Not all of it. Like, if
at
you're
least
for all
the
of
hour.
Yeah, at least. That's a big thing though. My players, I am thankful that all my players, every single one that I have, and I kind of explain it whenever before I start a campaign as well, anywhere or even a one shot. I always have to reiterate on purpose to my players, to all of them, that do not be afraid to be afraid.
Yeah.
Because if that's the way that the scene is meant to be, that's fine. But if your character's all high and mighty and not scared of anything, then you have a problem. You're not going to enjoy it.
Yep. I won't require it, but if you tell me you're not afraid of anything, I say I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, are you sure you don't know what you're afraid of? Like, mainly because I love building around flaws of characters more than anything. And my players love giving me knives, as I've talked about before. They make these beautifully well-crafted knives of storytelling, and they hand them to me so that way they can then turn around and I stab them as much as I can in the back with those knives. But those knives are also like, okay, hey, this is what you're afraid of, losing this or this coming back to haunt you. Like, work with your DM, make things that are scary, because that's a lot of fun. Especially a lot of things in D&D use fear, use things like your mind against you. And if you're not afraid of anything, I need you to center yourself as a person and go, what am I afraid of? And like, you're probably afraid of things like I am. Like, I'd like to believe that I am an adult man and I can take the trash can to the end of the road at night without any problems. However, on my way back through
you run.
I don't know why. I kind of do run. I may run a little bit, full sprint, so that way the boogeyman can't get me. And he will be disappointed till I'm old and gray that I can still run pretty damn quick. So look, and I'm a grown ass man. I'd like to believe I'm not afraid of anything.
As weird as it is, fear brings fun, because like if you watch a horror, I'm not talking because a lot of people don't really enjoy horror movies, and that's fine. But
right,
for example, if you watch a comedy, you're playing for comedy, right? If you're playing D&D, you're playing for all of D&D. Like, when somebody that has never played D&D or that has played D&D and they ask me if they can join one of my campaigns, the questions that I ask them, I'm RP heavy, I'm cinematic, I'm narrative storytelling, I'm doing all of this stuff, and you need to have a fear. I'm not talking like a fear of the dark. You can be, absolutely, it can be, but like, you need to have a fear. You need to be able to show fear as a character, as your character, because without that, then the moments that everybody else is going to be enjoying because they're scared as their characters, you're not.
Yeah,
you can be scared and brave, just to be clear.
that's even cooler. I love it when paladins or something will do that, where they're like they have to center themselves on their faith, like they
Have
have
to
to
lock in their
invoke their
shit.
chain, like
Oh yeah,
they
dude.
light their shield, and like I'm scared, but damn if I'm gonna run, like
There
that's
is a
cool. That's
scene.
a good way to do that.
There is a scene in the movie, and just look, the movie didn't do very good, but I like it. I enjoyed it. There's a movie in Hercules, the one with The Rock, right? Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yep.
There's a
Yep.
moment in that where he's chained up and everybody else is in jail cells, and one of the king's daughter he's going to behead because she betrayed him, yada yada yada. And there was a moment where I can't remember his name, but the guy that plays Odin in something the Gods TV show, what is it called? Anyway,
You're talking about
the guy that
oh
plays
god, I
the Continental owner
yeah,
in John Wick.
yep.
Yeah,
I
he's
I
like
looked him up the other day. I think it's Aristoteles is the name of
something like
his
that. Yeah.
character in.
Yeah, and he's like the seer, right? He's like that's what he is.
Yeah.
He's like the seer,
Yep.
the one that gets the omens and that kind of stuff. Anyway, there's a moment where he's like, "Who are you? Are you Hercules or are you some peasant boy?" That like going off of the questions, and like you can have those moments. You can give yourself those moments throughout the thing, like all of them while I'm staring at this. You can stop me from doing the combat, right? You can stop combat for a cinematic moment. 100 fucking percent. If we're in the middle of combat
Mhm.
and this big bad guy is walking towards you, boom, all of a sudden you're starting to have flashbacks. That's the beginning of your cinematic moment. You're having flashbacks of a moment when you were younger and you were in the woods and you were fighting up against a bear or something along those lines. It's coming towards you, or you're a sorcerer and there's a moment where you're sitting in your bed in a school of an arcane school, and you hear the footsteps walking down. You are shamed because you're a sorcerer and not a wizard. You had this magic given to you because you were born with it and you didn't earn it. Yada yada yada. And this feeling starts to build up, and just that same sort of feeling, like this big bad under whatever circumstances is coming towards you in that moment.
Yep.
Then it starts. Halfway through combat is when you can really play on that even further. And this, again, playing on the fear of like trauma, as weird as it is, playing on the fear of trauma or playing on the fear in the moment is essential if you really want to get deep into the story and into the life of the game. That's how you breathe life into it.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. I think it's so freaking needed. Oh,
Ampharius was his name, and it's Ian McShane, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's one of, it's funny. I was talking about it a couple weeks ago. I think the Hercules movie is it's fine, but it's also a hell of a good fun. It's a fun movie to watch. Especially his character. I was talking to a player of mine who wants to, yeah, he was like, I want to play, he wanted to play an apocalypse cleric. And I was like, hey, I'm just saying, that's cool. Take a look at this. And just the scene of him like going out there and then reveling in all those spears falling down and being like, well, guess not.
Yeah.
And then
there's the one scene.
Such a fun scene.
There was this one scene of the movie when they're breaking out of that after that moment, and there's a spear coming flying towards him, and it's his slum, and he's like, "It's my time." And he puts his arms out and he's waiting, and then Hercules grabs the spear, throws it back, and he says, "You stole my fate." He goes, "Not today," or "You're welcome," or something like that.
Yeah. He says something like that, and it's that movie is full of just little funny moments like that are really really fun.
That's great.
And but it's a good. There's a lot of good characterizations like that where yes, Ian McShane's character kind of gives that speech to him of like, who are you, and like centering him not to his failures as he had committed in the story, but to who he has built himself up to be. That's very cool. It allows for a lot of role play and storytelling to kind of come up and mean something, where it says, yes, you're scared, but are you strong enough to fight against it? You've got that with like, I'd like to say Grog in season 2 of Vox Machina, whenever he's fighting against his uncle. And Pike's getting hurt, and
dude, don't remind me.
I mean, yeah, absolutely, because it's the number one thing where we hear his most in my mind would like to rage. Yeah, it's such a good moment by Travis to just let out like that. I mean, Grog's neck muscles and everything, like big and yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I'm getting
Yeah,
excited
it's
just
cool
thinking
as
about
fuck.
it over here.
Yeah.
Goodness.
It's such a good show. Such a good campaign, man.
But but um no, like be afraid of things because nothing's more fun than sometimes like if the story was nothing but up, there would be kind of it gets boring.
Yeah, it gets
You
stagnant.
need to have your character you need to have your character humbled a little bit.
Yep.
And you may not want to. Like nobody wants to have their character humbled, but whenever you come back and you fight that same person or that same monster again and you get a moment where you're fighting it and it does something that maybe it took you out with last time and you're able to move around it or you dodge it or you
Dodge it and stuff.
planned for
Yeah.
it and it kind of goes huh
Yeah.
where it now has had a moment of fear where it realizes, oh wait a minute, this is not just some simpleton. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what we were talking about earlier where when we were talking about the wolfier or the what was it, the ulfundir,
Ulvefna?
um yeah, Olnefra, um where it's well not even him, the basically the werebear, similar, like that's very much this it's the opposite side where we're doing it, it's the same, it can be the same for your character
Yeah.
where at a certain point whenever you re-meet back up with something like that and you've gotten stronger or you are that strong, it would be cool if they end up fighting him again for maybe a little bit, even if it's only a ruse and he's
Yeah.
like, I think I've gotten my answer. I'll take, whatever deal they give me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um
100%.
I'm
There'll be
trying to think of
moments
other
to feel good
combat
about.
stuff. I'm trying to think of combat stuff that we haven't covered yet.
Actually, I think that this is going to be a two-part combat conversation because
Ooh,
we are
fun
we are
stuff. It is
we are
probably
running
getting
out of
close.
time. We are actually we're actually well over time, but it's fine.
I don't yeah. Guess you'll just have to find out next week what we're going to talk about with combat.
Yes, yes.
You
Look,
know, you know the
we will
secret
leave
to
it here,
combat
but
really is
really is that's it. Yes. But yeah, that is probably we're gonna leave it off for this episode. I think we're gonna reevaluate and I'm gonna write down some things that I experienced over the weekend because I've got lots of D&D and I got lots of combat happening too coming over the weekend. So
Same. Well,
I'm gonna keep note of what I'm doing through it and kind of like see what I've done to kind of make that combat as fluid as it's going to be or it can be.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and so something I'll challenge the listeners. I almost said readers. I've got a combat coming up, and I'm pretty excited about it, but I don't have a good way of executing it. Um, it's going to be a city siege, and I mean a sizable city, and not just an. I'm considering a lower part. So it's a dwarven city. The top parts where they'll be fighting first, keeping this cult out, and then eventually the siege will break and
Oh.
they will there's an undercity where not like a criminal undercity but like it's a dwarven city with a lift and the lift goes down into the undercity where all the dwarves live. Well, that could be another fallback point to the undercity. But my thing is that it's going to be a big combat, bigger than anything I've ran before, and I'm not certain how I want to do it. I'd love to have my table, just full table, like nothing but city, and them having to fight through it whenever the siege eventually breaks. Because I'm planning on it being a pretty rough combat, something where it's essentially, and I know we're pressed for time, but it's essentially that what we talked about where
We're not really. We just aim for
well,
it.
we're trying to be disciplined in our time
Trying
management.
to be.
But it's not so much it's turning on its head the you can't win this fight, and also like it's a combination of there's not enough of winning that you can do, and there's not and it's a lot of fly swatting because a lot of these cultists they're pretty weak, and then they've got an undead like these thralls. They've been going everything. They're easy to kill, but golly, they're endless. And
Yeah.
so it's a combination of that. It's not to say that like I'm trying to invoke hopelessness, but I do want to get them down to a point where they are they're waiting for the army to arrive to back them up, and then let them get creative, because I've got they're very strong. I know that they'll last for a long time, and they may last for such a while that I alter my plans a bit, where I start sending in the lieutenants of these people earlier to try to deal with them, and that's it. I want it to be dynamic in that way. But if you have any
Yeah.
ideas, or if you've ever ran a siege combat, let me know. Right now, the best I've got is basically I'll run districts. So the districts that they're run like that they're fighting in, where it'll be almost like scenes where, okay, you're in this part of the city, you're fighting here. That's the best thing I've got right now, but I'd love better ideas than that, because I mean to tell you, they could be. I'm going to let them place themselves wherever they want. I guess I'd prefer if they were together, but it makes sense if they're not, since it is a citywide siege that they're trying to keep cultists out
Can
of.
I input?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's an idea, and this worked for my campaign. I wasn't the DM. I was actually the player in this one. This Waterdeep was under attack, and we were the guardians, right? And this when I was playing Kratos. I spoke about him almost every session.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a moment where Waterdeep was under attack, and each like there was two dragons flying ahead. There was a red one and a white one, both terrible.
Yeah, not great.
Blackstaff was down and out for the count, so he was out of commission. Right. So there was nothing keeping the city, the dragons at bay from entering the city. Because fun fact,
right,
Waterdeep, there is like a beacon in this.
Yeah,
in
there's
the
a
city
there's a veil
keeps dragons
that
away.
keeps them out.
Yeah, that keeps dragons away. That went down. And in the same process, the seven children of hell. So Asmodeus's 7 children was trying to bring him here, bring him to the mortal realm, right? Without the consequences of cosmic law or anything like that. And they were doing it. They were successfully doing it. They had the one of the daughters of hell. Her name is Azura, and she killed an angel that was hiding in the city.
Oh,
right? A solar. She killed an angel that was hiding in the city, and she took her wings and she implanted them on her back, which means she could go up or down at will. So she could go to Mount Celestial, Mount Celestial, or she could go down, whichever way she wanted. The wings were her key, were her way in and out. So anyway, and she got really powerful over that much. And in that same process, there was armies of their minions sort of flooding through the city.
Yeah, the cults of the dragon, basically.
Yeah, and we needed to fucking figure out how we're gonna do this. So what we did, what my DM did, was sectioned all of us off. Kratos, you go to the center of the city and you take on the white dragon. Fine. Solo, might I add. We were level 18. So we weren't like itty bitty. We were biggins.
God damn.
No, we were biggins. Like we were going at it.
Pack it up, Kratos. Go ahead and get your will together, bud.
No, we were level 18. Like we each had what was called like a celestial titan within us as well. So like we had that benefit going for us, the homebrew stuff. Salem got sent off to the southern docks. Kai got sent off to southern docks because that's where his family is. And his mother just had his little sister, basically. And he was like, oh, hell no, like no, fuck that. And he has a really cool backstory. He was born on the ocean with a lightning bolt that's hit him as a child, and that was the lightning. That was the air elemental, the air titan, embodying him at that stage.
That's cool.
And then Salem went to a different spot, and Yavira went to a different spot, and we were all fighting in our own spots as well. One was a graveyard where there was this troll, a dire troll that kept getting stronger and stronger from the beginning of the campaign and showed up at the end, and he's like, I told you I'd be coming back for you. And like that was that. He was terrifying. Like just a simple, not a simple. He was a troll that could speak fully intelligently and had like a vendetta against us because we killed all of his goblins and all that stuff. It was really like, it sounds goofy as fuck, but it was terrifying.
That's cool.
It was fucking
I love
terrifying.
it. I love it.
Whenever he ended up having,
you'll make enemies.
He ended up having like these spider-like abilities where he could like there was like green webs on the walls of the graveyard and all that stuff, and that's where he was, and he was working with the Children of Hell because it was an enemy that we had.
Yeah, he'll do anything.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah, pretty much. And then so he's like, yeah, you like he segmented us into different districts. I'm going to put quotations up there. So districts. So I was fighting minions and the white dragon, while Salem was fighting the Red Dragon, while Kai was going to the docks and making sure that there was nothing happening there, but there was, and he had to go fight off a whole bunch of stuff. He almost died. And then you had Yavira, who was doing her own thing off in the distance somewhere else, fighting the guys in the graveyard. We had NPCs running through each section trying to like help us all at the same time. And while I'm fucking pinned down with holding the jaws open of a fucking giant ancient white dragon, it's like, yeah, that's when we all learn our abilities. I actually have that episode recorded from all those years ago.
That might be a fun thing to just listen to, gang.
Look, I'm not going to.
Really cool.
That will never be public, but perhaps you could listen to it. It was insane.
Ooh, it has its perks to be me.
I'm not going to make it public because I don't talk to any of them anymore. So we've all parted our own ways and done all that stuff. But I'm not going to publicly post it. But I will talk about
we can talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it. We're blue in the face.
That's the way that we did it there, and that worked really well. And
that's cool.
And what that did for us is every single one of us had our own moments, as long as you allocate enough time to each one.
We just real quick, whenever the last time we did like a city siege combat, it was cinematic in many ways, because there was no meaningful combat to be had as we went through. So we were just slaying like lieutenants and like minions and the like, just going through with axe. Like my character, he's Berserker Barbarian Warforged, so he's just going through clearing the way because we were trying to get to the keep. We needed to get to the castle before something bad happened. Yeah, so they were behind me, and if somebody slowed down, it was like that was the only time where we would stop and have combat, is if we could not push our way through to keep going. And we did little stuff here, there, and yonder. But yeah, that's the last time we did it. And this time my plan is I want to run their resources down. I want to be evil. I want to run their resources down. I want to run those rages out.
Get rid of the rages.
I want to run those spell slots out. I want them down to the wire and them going, it hasn't stopped.
Exert themselves for exhaustion?
I will. Yes. And because one of my players asked one time, is like, can I, if in the case of human events that I run out of spell slots, would you let me like exert myself to make more? I was like, absolutely. And I think that it's well within your character's like
abilities.
Like, I think he's a orc. Just he's a and he's a orc wizard, divination wizard. And he is well known to be probably the most brilliant as of right now, just because he calls himself the Farseer. But he's super cool. And I was like, it makes sense because he not only trains his spells, but he trains his body as well, where he does a lot of physical exercise. So he has that look of being the typical dumb orc. Until he pulls out like sophisticated spells and people go, oh shit. But I want that to happen. I want there to be moments where they feel really strong in this combat. And then I want that to slowly be like, it's not enough. Yeah. It's not enough. It's still getting worse. And then right about the time that it gets really bad is whenever they hear the first roar of the Red Prince of Death, the dragon. And that's whenever they're like, fuck. Yes. What do we do? And I want to see that on their faces as I slowly but surely drain the hope and life from their eyes. You hear me?
It's gonna happen. All right.
It's kind of getting to that point where I want that to be a big thing. And then they will go, something will happen. I wouldn't call it a day. I mean, it kind of is. It's basically something will happen that forces a retreat from the Red Prince of Death. The Red Prince of Death will hear something that terrifies him, which lets them know, as scary as he might be, he's scared of something else that's coming. And so
I love it. Because like, what the fuck are you scared of? Hello?
Exactly. Whatever. And then it's not even that it's friendly to them. It's that it is afraid of what's coming because it has prior knowledge. It connects to backstories. And then immediately that's not the sound. Like, it will make it to a point where, hey, what's coming wasn't looking for it. It's looking for one of you. I'm very excited to include that stuff. I can't wait for it to happen. But I wanted to make this combat fun and meaningful. So all this, it's actually really serendipitous that we're talking about combat. These next, in the comments, leave ideas, suggestions. I genuinely am taking every suggestion. Like just now, I've got in my little book stuff about what you just recommended, and I will continue to add more and more as I go. So please, please, please give me your insight,
Cool.
give me your thoughts, lend me your thoughts.
Yes. All right, everybody. Well, on that note, we will bid you adieu. That's gonna be it for us. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
We're gonna be getting another episode out next week as well after this is already uploaded. So this will be like probably gonna upload it tonight. This one, maybe not. I don't
Cool.
know. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
We'll do it.
Figure it out.
Fucking we do it live.
Yes. Yes, we'll do it. Take care, everybody. I will see you guys next Friday. Baz, Ragnar, we out.
Burp you later.
Take care. Burp you later.